Buongiorno, welcome back to my channel. And if you are new here, then a big warm welcome. My name is Noura and I do a lot of fragrance reviews, but also some makeup, skincare, and lifestyle in general. So if you like these type of videos, then definitely subscribe and also hit the notification bell so you will get notified when I upload a new video. So now let's get started with today's video. And today is part 3 of my full review of Memo Paris. So if you didn't see part 1 and 2, I will leave it linked down below. Part 1 was all about leather fragrances and I will leave it linked up here. And part 2 was about the grand florals from Memo Paris, which I also will leave here in the eye for you to watch. Today I will do all the rest, and you can categorize it into cozy fresh fragrances and Oriental fragrances. So let's start with fresh and cozy fragrances. So I have here 3 fragrances which I can categorize as a fresh and cozy. I have Winter Palace, Kedu, and Vaadhoo. Vaadhoo. I don't know how to pronounce it, to be honest. And Moon Fever. Moon Fever is in the leather collection actually, but the leather is really undetectable here. This is why it's here in the fresh cozy sets. As I said before, this division, like in leather, floral, cozy fresh, and oriental, is my own one. If you go on the Memo Paris website, they have a total other way in dividing their fragrances. This is just my take on that. And as usual, I will rate them from the least favorite to the most favorite. And let's start with Vaadhoo because I don't like it. This is one of the few fragrances from Memo Paris that I actually don't like at all. I can't find the sample. I don't know where did I misplace the sample, so I will just put the notes on the screen. It's quite leathery, although there is no leather in this fragrance, so I don't know from where I get this. Quite an off-putting opening, to be honest. Has this chemical rubber smell to it. I just don't like this fragrance. It has an aromatic touch to it, but that rubbery note, ugh, no. And it remains like that for very long time. So that off-putting smell goes away eventually, but it's in the very, very, very dry down of this fragrance. It almost becomes something totally different. It becomes airy, cozy, really a nice fragrance, but you really have to wait for quite a long time to get it. So this is why I just don't like it. So yeah, Vaadhoo is a no for me. And on number 3 I have Kedu. And Kedu is a very nice, fresh, airy summer fragrance. And let me start by reading you the notes. So in the top notes you have grapefruit, you have neroli, mandarin orange. In the mid notes you have mate, freesia, rose and peony. And in the base you have sesame, white musk and moss. So Kedu opens up with these beautiful citruses, so mandarin orange, neroli and grapefruit. In the dry down, however, it's mostly a green tea scent, so a mate, and you also get a little bit of the moss. Very refreshing, very cozy, ideal for summer fragrance. So it's a perfect fresh summer fragrance, but in a very refined way. There is no sharpness here, it's just soft and airy. It has a very particular note, which I don't see a lot in fragrances, which is sesame. And to me, I don't get it. And so, as I said, a beautiful, fresh, airy, ideal for summer, for someone who wants an easy-going, easy-to-grab fragrance during the summer to use during the day. Performance, however, is terrible on this fragrance. There is no sillage here, which I don't mind, but the thing, it's actually also terrible in performance, so it doesn't even last on my skin for 1 hour before it disappears. I really hoped that fragrance would last longer because I really like it. Um, but for me, I have to smell at least myself, and I don't with this fragrance so much. So, although I love this fragrance, but for the performance, it's just a no for me. And by the way, it's totally unisex, so men and women can wear it equally. So that was Kedu. Next, we have Moon Fever, and as I said, it's actually in the leather collection, so there is leather in this fragrance, obviously. But it's mostly a very fresh aromatic fragrance to me. So you have in the top bitter orange, lemon, grapefruit. In the mid you have lemon verbena, clary sage, neroli, and in the base you have tonka bean, leather, and vetiver. So for me it's a citrusy aromatic fragrance, especially in the opening. You really get the clary sage. It's just very refined. There is no sharpness here. Like some citrusy aromatic fragrances tend to be a little bit sharp, and this is not. For me, it's totally unisex. It's very similar to Eau de Memo. You smell more the leather in Eau de Memo than in this one. In the dry down, you get more differences between the two, as the leather really shines in Eau de Memo, and as I said, this one you don't detect the leather almost at all. This one gets a little bit sweeter and warmer from the tonka. It gives a little bit of a smoother touch to this fragrance. It rounds the fragrance. I don't know. Very airy, effervescent, fresh and citrusy, but not too much. Everything is in the right dosage to me in this fragrance. The only thing, again, it's such an easygoing, easy reach kind of a fragrance, but so beautiful in a very sophisticated, refined way. And yeah, definitely a summer, a spring fragrance for sure. And totally unisex, as I said. So that was Moon Fever. And my favorite one, which I already bought a bottle of, is Winter Palace. Such a beautiful scent and quite unique. I never smelled anything like that. So let me read you the notes first. You have oil of grapefruit, dry amberwood accord, oil of bergamot, benzoin, citrus, labdanum absolute, oil of orange, styrax, tolo, resinoid, vanilla extract, red tea accord, musk accord, tonka bean absolute, oil of lemon, oil of mate. When I first sprayed this fragrance, this first image that came to my mind or situation is drinking red tea with lemon cake. Exactly like that. It smells exactly like having tea with lemon cake. Although it's quite unique, the opening, it's not my favorite phase of this fragrance. So the opening was too sweet for my taste. I don't like sweet fragrances, by the way, or gourmands in general. There are some exceptions here and there, but usually I don't like them. The dry down, however, is so good. The ambery notes come through. You definitely get the tea. The tea remains from the opening till the dry down. The vanilla, a little bit of the tolu balsam, but and I don't like tolu balsam so much, but it's really like a very small amount. It just makes this fragrance unique. So beautiful, very cozy, especially for winter time. I think this will be my go-to cozy scent during the winter, also as an everyday kind of a scent. Lasting power is average. Sillage is like you can smell yourself for a while. As you can see, I bought the bottle, so it's definitely my favorite from the whole brand. So yeah, that was Winter Palace. Now let's move to Oriental fragrances, and I can put them in like two parts. So we have the oud fragrances and like the general Oriental fragrances. So let's start with oud. And let me start by saying that I am shocked that nobody or like few people talk about the oud collection from Memo Paris, because they are really good. Not all of them are my personal taste, but they are really good. And again, I will start from the least favorite to my most favorite one. So from the Oud collection, we have Argentina, Luxor Oud, and Shams Oud. Of course, these are from the fragrances that I managed to get a sample of. There are 5 missing. I don't know if these are only the ones that have oud. So let's start with Argentina. And let me read you the notes first. So you have pink pepper, ambrette absolute, rose absolute, jasmine, sambac absolute, magnolia, oil, oud natural. So this is quite an expensive fragrance to do because oud, like natural oud, is, if you don't know, most of the fragrances use a synthetic oud because oud is quite expensive. This one has natural oud, so go figure. And when you first spray it, you really get, so from the notes you can see it's an rose oud composition. However, so first spray, it's very oudy. It's really potent. I do like some oud fragrances, but not so much. So this is for someone who is really into ouds. And the rose you get more in the dry down, as you could expect. This is a monster, like a powerhouse. This fragrance projects amazingly. It lasts all day, but I don't like it so much. And let me tell you why. So it has ambrette, and here on the tester I don't get it so much, but on my skin, oh my god, this combination with oud and ambrette on my skin is no, it's just a no. Now on the tester here, it's really a beautiful rose oud fragrance. So yeah, for me, I don't like this fragrance so much, but on paper I like it. So definitely test this fragrance on your skin and see. And it's definitely leaning masculine to me. So it's unisex but leaning masculine. It's definitely for winter time. So that was Argentina. Next is Shams Oud. So Shams in Arabic means sun, and this is a very dry oud fragrance. So again, let me start with the notes and then let's talk about everything else. So we have oil of pepper, rose, oil of ginger, saffron, cypriol heart, cashmeran, tonka bean, tolo balsam absolute, styrax absolute, labdanum absolute, and oud. So the opening of Shams Oud was for me quite off-putting. You got a little bit of this stinky oud to my nose. Maybe because I'm not so into oud, but it's definitely one from Memo Paris that you have to wait for the dry down to appreciate it. So this is again one of the characteristics of that house. The dry down is absolutely beautiful. As I said, a very dry oud, or should I say it's a labdanum oud fragrance. You really get the labdanum here. To me, it's more about the labdanum than the actual oud. You also get the saffron, so it's a little bit spicy, and I love oud saffron combination. It's quite warm. You got tolo balsam, you get styrax, and also tonka bean, so quite warm, so a definite winter fragrance for me. It's quite masculine, although yes, I can imagine some women can pull this off. Has a very good sillage and also longevity, and to me it's one of these very addictive fragrances, and I actually like it a lot. So that was Shams Oud. And my number one is Luxor Wood. Such a unique oud fragrance and an amazing introduction to oud in my opinion. This is definitely likable even to persons who don't like oud so much. And this is a fruity, citrusy oud. So let me tell you the notes first. We have oil of mandarin, red berries, rose, oil of cypriol, heart, rose absolute, oil of patchouli, styrex, resin, tonka bean, and oud. This is a fragrance that you have to wait for the dry down to really appreciate. It's not like it has a bad opening. It has a quite nice opening where you really get the oud. Always with oud fragrances, when you first spray them, the oud really is a little bit pungent, let's say. And to me, it's like, you know, an exotic flower. So it's like opening and you get a little bit of like the smell, but you have to wait for the dry down to get like the whole splendor of this beautiful flower. And I know it's quite strange, but this is how I imagined this fragrance. As I said, it's a very nice oud, not challenging in any way. Quite sweet, but not too sweet. You definitely get the fruits here. To my nose, I mostly get like this sweet orange with oud. It's definitely leaning feminine to me. Really, really stunning. And I am thinking about getting this one. Definitely. So beautiful. So beautiful. It's not so long lasting like the other two, like Argentina and Shams Oud, but definitely has a good longevity. Sillage wise, you will have this nice cloud around you. It definitely gives this desert vibe. So Luxor, if you don't know, is a city in Egypt. So I went to Luxor and I know it. Although this fragrance gives a little bit of like the desert vibe, but for me it doesn't represent Luxor, to be completely honest. But this doesn't affect like the smell, because it's gorgeous, beautiful, feminine, a lovely introduction to oud. So Luxor Oud. Now let's move to Oriental fragrances, and I have here three fragrances. I have Siwa, Tiger Nest. Let's go to a very unique fragrance, and this is Tiger Nest. Yeah. So for people who live in Asia or like visited or traveled to Asia will know exactly that smell. This smells exactly like a temple. Yes, like a real representation of a temple. So Tiger's Nest has oil of absence, aldehyde, lime, amber, saffron, incense absolute, osmanthus, ylang-ylang, rose, papyrus, vanilla, balsam of Tulo. And it smells exactly like temple, like a temple. I didn't know at first that Tiger Nest is actually the name of an Asian temple. But yeah, I mean, they captured like the place perfectly. The opening has a little bit of this rubbery smell that I mentioned with Vaadhoo, but this time it was not so pungent, not so in your face, and it didn't last so long. It's very masculine and has this fresh and clean aspect to it, maybe from the aldehyde, which, to be honest, I can't pick it up. So if I didn't see the note and see there is aldehyde, I wouldn't have guessed this fragrance has aldehyde. So it's quite incensey. So definitely this is a must in incense lovers. For, of course, you have to check this fragrance out. Projects quite nicely and has also a nice longevity. So yeah, this is a definite must for incense lover for sure. But I am not so much into incense, to be honest. So it's not for me personally, but I do recommend it for incense lover. You have to check it. So Tiger Nest. And now let's move to the beautiful Siwa. Siwa is an oasis in Egypt, but I never went there. So, but from my imagination and what people tell me, I wouldn't necessarily see this fragrance as a representation of the place. But nevertheless, this is an amazing, gorgeous scent. It has oil of cinnamon leaf, oil of ginger, freesia, heliotrope flower, narcissus absolute, orris absolute, oil of incense, oil of sandalwood, vanilla absolute. You definitely get the narcissus here, or narcissus, I don't know how it's pronounced exactly. Vanilla, yeah, the touch of cinnamon. I remember Judy Rose describing this scent as a luxurious oil that you put on your body after having like a swim, I think, something like that. And I do get the oil reference here. At first, I thought this fragrance reminded me of a hair oil that I used once, and then it hit me. So I have this like perfume oil that I got from Dubai back in 2011 or 2012, I think. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's not important. And yes, unfortunately, that oil went bad. So I can't really do a comparison, but I see the vibe. And also, it doesn't have the name anymore. So I don't know anyway. But this is how, but it reminded me a lot of that oil. It's, yeah, as I said, it's mostly narcissus with this beautiful fluffy vanilla. Has a touch of powderiness, but really, really in the background. And I totally agree with Judy Rose that it smells like a luxurious oil, a dry oil, to be precise. On Fragrantica, they mention in the notes composition things that are not mentioned in the sample. So they mention popcorn, which I don't get, to be honest, and they mention also whiskey. And I have to say, I get this whiskey a little bit, but maybe it's because I read the notes, so I get it. I am not sure, but it has this touch of booziness, like really a touch of it in the opening. But sometimes with cinnamon, I do get this touch of booziness in the opening. For me, this is my favorite Memo Paris. I know I said that about Winter Palace, but I'm not so sure if I'm going to buy it because I don't know when I can wear this fragrance. So as I said, it's very luxurious, very for special occasion. To me, at least, very feminine. I'm not so sure when I can wear it. So as I said, this is a feminine fragrance, more for winter time. It doesn't project very much. It's mostly like an enveloping scent, like a scent bubble that you will have with a good longevity, but it will turn into a skin scent like after 2-3 hours, but it will remain on your skin for a long time. So again, Siwa, a beautiful feminine winter fragrance that is absolutely gorgeous. A definite yes for me. So that was Siwa. So that concludes my video and all my review of Memo Paris. So my final thoughts about this house. So as I said, this is my absolute favorite niche brand at the moment. The idea of capturing places or for fragrances to be like a journey, everything about that house is absolutely beautiful and I am totally in love with it. They have, I think, one perfumer for all these fragrances and I'm absolutely blown away. So you definitely can pick the signatures touch of that perfumer in almost all the fragrances. They are all very refined, very luxurious, very well blended, well rounded fragrances. Quite unique. Even the fragrances that are loud and projecting still have this soft touches, so no edges in this fragrance at all. And for most of them you get what you pay for. So I definitely recommend this house in general and to check their fragrances. You can buy the samples, by the way, on their website as I did. The sample costs €6 and you have free shipment after €100. The bottles are really work of art. Just stunning. So you definitely, quality-wise, representation-wise, everything, you get what you pay for most of these fragrances. So I am definitely impressed and I'm quite obsessed with this house. You can see how I'm excited talking about them. But yes, so definitely my favorite ones from the whole house is Siwa, Winter Palace, African Leather, Inlay, and Luxor Oud. These are my personal favorites. If anyone is interested to know, these are my absolute favorite. As I said, I already bought Winter Palace. I have it already. I think Inlay will be my second purchase, but not for now. So that was everything. I really hope you liked this video, and if it did, please give it a thumb up and tell me in the comments down below if you tried any of these fragrances and how is your experience with them. And before we go, please consider subscribing to my channel. That will help me a lot, and also hit the notification bell so you will get notified when I upload a new video. Thanks a lot for watching and see you next time. Ciao.